Welcome to the LDHR podcast, the place to learn, explore, develop, and connect so that we and those we lead are known, needed, and have a future. In this series, we're exploring our member care model and discovering what it looks like to live out and lead through master care, self-care, team care, and movement care. We will hear from people all over the world how they're living this out and how we can learn from them. Come on in and listen. We're so glad you're here. Bong, welcome to the LDHR podcast. I'm so glad you're able to join me today. But before we begin, can you tell us a little bit about your current role and where you are serving?
Hi, Beth. I'm currently assigned in Leadership Development and Human Resources with Cru Philippines. I've been on staff since 2004, but my wife and I joined LDHR since 2013.
Wow.
And
Welcome.
currently, of the many things we do in LDHR, I'm more on the care and development aspect of the team.
Great. That's great. Well, welcome. We're really glad you're here. So today, our conversation, we're kind of transitioning to the fourth component of our member care model, focusing on movement care, really recognizing that when movements invest in structures to ensure people are known, needed, and have a future, it doesn't just build an organization, it really builds a thriving, sustainable movement. So kind of to start, can you share what movement care means to you and why it's so important for the well-being of our staff?
Actually, we did not have any HR background when we joined LDHR. All we had was the experience of being a field staff and the God-given desire to help the organization provide care for the staff. So helping ensure that the staff are cared for will really help them continue serving efficiently and effectively in their respective ministry assignments. So that's how important movement care is.
Yeah, that's great. So why do you believe an organization must be intentional about providing care at the movement level rather than just leaving it up to the individuals or the teams to manage on their own?
Our missionaries and teams are very driven in reaching their scope. And on top of that, they also need to attend to some administrative tasks. So they have the tendency to overlook the need to manage concerns from their level or simply might not have the capacity to manage on their own given a specific situation. That's why the organization needs to provide care that is readily available for our missionaries and teams. The organization also needs to be ready to intervene if concerns are not being addressed in the individual or team levels.
Yeah. They have a lot on their plate, and sometimes they don't always see those things in the same way. Yeah. So having the movement come in and helping is really crucial. So what kind of processes or systems have you implemented in your context to ensure that people are truly seen and cared for?
Let me share some of the things that we did.
Yeah.
Like during the pandemic, because the Philippines is a nation of many islands, we implemented a clustering system to help ensure that needs are known, assessed, and addressed immediately. And during times of crisis, we activate this clustering system wherein we know where people are, we know what their needs are, and how to send help immediately. Also, we get an annual corporate health insurance to make sure that our missionaries have a health card or insurance for personal health maintenance and for emergency hospitalization needs. So every time they need to see a doctor, they'll have a health card or insurance to use.
Yeah.
Another one is on top of government required social security, we maintain a retirement fund for our missionaries. Cru Philippines is already 60 years old, so many of our missionaries are on the retirement age. So we set up a retirement fund so that it can help them move on, at least with an initial fund once they retire. And other aspects of care, we update a list of specialists so we could recommend to our missionaries to help address their needs. Example are a list of pastors, counselors, doctors, psychologists who are very familiar with our ministry
Yeah.
so that it would be easy for our missionaries to really relate their concerns, their needs to them. But we also have in-house counselors and staff families who can journey with our missionaries in need.
Yeah.
And we also have an active crisis management team closely working with LDHR, always ready to assess and respond as needed. So I represent LDHR in the CMT. So we have very quick access for everything needed. And for other needs, we have a separate fund so we can give financial assistance to missionaries and their families. Example, if there's a medical crisis in the family or someone died in the family, we can readily extend financial assistance.
Yeah.
And to help with the spiritual condition of our missionaries and teams, we recommend materials for team retreats. And if we could, we send facilitators to the retreats. Especially the team leader will not have to think and prepare for it. We provide the facilitator. And another one, if you're familiar with Birkman,
Mm-hmm.
Birkman has been an exciting part in terms of providing team building.
Yeah.
So allowing our teams to really get to know each other better or work well together. And also speaking of Birkman, did you know that Birkman has the ministry side? At one time, we sent Birkman insights to our missionaries that talks about their prayer life, talks about how they study the Bible. So they can have something to consider during a 1 week retreat that we had last January of 2023. And after that, to celebrate the Love Month or Valentine's, we also give to couples Berkman group report
Mm-hmm.
or sa report between the couple. So something that to start conversation during their date nights during
That's
the
great.
Feb of 2023.
Yeah.
And some other things. We made sure that in our policy and guidelines, we provide appropriate leaves and off times. So give people the time they need to attend to other concerns like vacation leave, sick leave, sabbatical leave. Although I think we have different guidelines with sabbatical leave. We also provide study leaves, emergency leaves, those who will get married, for those becoming new parents. We also have a day with the Lord and twice a month MPD day to make sure that our staff have time to connect with their ministry partners and make sure that support is healthy.
That's
And
great.
we also encourage our staff to take personal retreats twice a year.
Mm, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing all of that. I really am encouraged to hear like the processes and systems kind of span all different aspects. They encompass financial aspects, they encompass the emotional aspects of your staff, the spiritual well-being, even the physical well-being of taking some leave and having some time off. So I think that's really encouraging to have a wide range of processes and systems in place to care for your staff holistically. So, how do you cultivate a culture of care across all levels of the organization, from leadership down to new staff?
So together with all the processes and the systems already in place, we also maximize the staff development cycle or at least the three conversations each year with the team leader and the member. We maximize it to help promote intentional care and development across the organization. It also helps ensure that our missionaries are known, needed, and have a future within the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what steps do you take to make sure that care isn't just an occasional offering, but really becomes part of the organizational DNA?
As much as possible, we try our best to be consistent in providing the existing processes and systems of care and development. And to help us represent it well, we assign an LDHR staff for every team to make sure that each team have direct access to someone to help facilitate assessing and meeting their needs.
Mm, that's great. And how often does that LDHR person meet with the team?
At least we message them once or every 2 weeks,
Mhm.
or every time we visit their area, we make sure we take them out for lunch or dinner, just spend time with the team or directly spend time with the team leader just to get to know how he or she is doing and how we can pray for them.
Yeah. That's really great. That's really like an ongoing relationship that they really know what's going on
Yeah.
and the teams know who to contact, which is really important. That's great. So how does providing care at the movement level help to prevent burnout, disengagement, or high turnover within your organization?
Providing care at the movement level helps ensure that concerns of our missionaries, our leaders, and our teams are being identified, assessed, and properly or responded promptly. By God's grace, I believe it can help energize our missionaries and sustain retention amongst our staff. So knowing that they're being cared for, that they really experience care from the organization, I think they would love to continue serving the Lord through Cru.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And then what strategies have you used to support long term growth and development for people within your movement? And how do you really create those pathways for their continued success?
So in terms of development, we encourage our missionaries to take full-time study leave for around 3 years or until they finish a certain course. So that would mean they will really focus on the study.
Mm.
But another option is part-time study leave so they can have continuing development without being pulled out from the field ministry. So once in a while, we provide subsidies and we also have partner seminaries that give scholarships. And again, we maximize the staff development cycle to help identify the care and development needs of our missionaries so we could provide guidance and resources to help meet their needs.
Yeah. Yeah, as you're engaging in those staff development cycle conversations, it's easy then to see where is the need? Where can we help you grow? Where can we come alongside you? And when you are in regular conversation, it's easy to come alongside and provide the care that people need. That's great. So, how do you balance the needs of individuals with the overall goals of the organization? Kind of making sure that, the person is cared for, but without really compromising the mission. How do you hold those in balance or intention with one another?
Uh, if the situation allows, we try to have conversations with the concerned individuals and their leaders to help identify the most appropriate approach to address the needs without compromising the mission.
Mm.
But if the situation demands that we choose between the welfare of the missionary or accomplishing the mission, we will choose the welfare of the missionary. For some examples, I had an experience where I recommended to pull out a missionary family from the field so they could go through counseling for a year to help address their family crisis. Thankfully, afterwards, the family slowly returned to their mission field, and until now, we've seen growth, breakthroughs in their family, breakthroughs in their ministry. We also had several instances where we recommended not to accept a seemingly qualified staff applicant for the purpose of giving this applicant that time to prioritize dealing with personal issues or crises so that the applicant would be more ready for the rigorous staff training and missionary life. And by God's grace, God has proven Himself. Truly, those who cooperated with the process, they really experience joining the staff and having a good experience during the training and even afterwards.
Yeah. I think that's really encouraging to hear that, we really try to hold both of them in tension with one another and try to work and figure things out to benefit the people and the mission. But I love that you said when it comes down to it, we'll choose the staff. Like these are people created in the image of God and we want to work with them. And that's the first focus. And so, yeah, that's really encouraging to hear. So, what's one key lesson you've learned really about the importance of organizational care that you wish every leader knew?
Oh, aside from making available the systems, the processes, the resources that promotes organizational care. Leaders should be intentional and relational in helping ensure that the missionaries have access to these resources when they need it. So it's more of the putting heart into providing these services to our missionaries.
Yeah, that's so good. Like you said, like you guys have a lot of these processes, you have a lot of these things, but even the LDHR person that you have who is in contact with the teams, it provides that relational context. It provides that trust. It provides the whole framework for providing those services. So that's really great that it does come down to the heart. It does come down to the relationship as well. And then lastly, what's like the first step or a step a leader really can take if they want to start creating processes to care for people at the movement level?
I think the first step is to assess the needs of the people in the organization.
Mhm.
It may be done through surveys or maybe interviews or by simply taking notes of their observations. Afterwards, and they can start addressing one or two of the needs based either on urgency or based on the organization's capacity to respond. So again, it depends how big the organization is or the capacity of the LDHR team to respond. And again, just start from somewhere and continue building up.
Yeah, that's encouraging. What a great place to start is yeah, taking a survey, gathering some information of what people's felt needs are in those circumstances, and then building from there and take one small step and go from there and build. That's great. Well, thank you so much for your insights and your wisdom and for serving so faithfully in your role. And thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you also, Beth, and I hope that encourage others to
Mm.
keep caring for our people, for our missionaries.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Although movement care has a lot to do with providing the right processes and systems to care for our staff, it still happens within the context of relationship, from an overflow of our heart for God and others, as Bong so graciously reminded us today. In light of our conversation with Bong, what's one step you can take to grow in movement care? We'll be back next week with the last episode of our Member Care series as we hear from Mike Maney, serving in Europe, about how we can create networks of specialists to provide holistic care for everyone in our movements. You won't want to miss it. See you next week.